Hello my beautiful friends, it's Amanda here, and today we're talking about the latest release from Klarity Kosmetics. This is the Evil Mermaid palette. Last year they released a very different mermaid themed palette. This is the So Mermazing palette. As you can see, very different vibe here. I really like the two different takes on the same theme. I do have a full review on this So Mermazing palette as well. It's very pastel. The Evil Mermaid palette, in addition to being quite a bit smaller, is also a completely different color story. Still, somehow both really nailed a mermaid vibe in my mind. But today we're just focusing on this Evil Mermaid palette. This is currently available, however it is showing up as sold out right now on the Klarity site. I am 99% sure that they're gonna restock this palette. It's priced at $25 US, which is great. It's a lot less expensive than their previous palettes have been. And I believe that's due to the fact that these have the smaller pan sizes. So you can see here on my Bloom palette, it says 3.5 grams per pan. So this one has the really big pans. They're sort of like a blush size pan. I have a whole review on this palette as well. I really like this one. I actually really like all of these palettes, but here on the Evil Mermaid palette you can see this one's 1.5 grams per pan. Here's a little side-by-side for you so that you can really see the difference in the shadow sizes between these two palettes. Personally, I am a fan of the smaller pan size. I find this palette size a lot more manageable, and frankly, these are pressed pigments. They are incredibly pigmented. Klarity eyeshadows are really top-notch. They are very opaque, very pigmented. The shimmers are super metallic. So a little bit goes a long way with these shadows because they are so intense. And I do think that the smaller pan size really suits this product. These are easier to store, easier to travel with. I know a lot of people like the bigger pan size, and obviously it never stopped me from buying the palettes before because I do think this is a really great brand, great concepts, a great formula. But I have to say, I think this is a good move. Personally, I am a fan of the smaller pans, at least in the palettes. I do want to mention, going into this review, Klarity Kosmetics actually sent this palette to me, which is so exciting because, like I said, I love the brand and I've never received any PR from them before. I definitely was planning on purchasing this anyway, but I just wanted to kind of throw it out there. This is the first time they've sent me PR. Before we look at the swatches and tutorial, I just want to show you a close-up look of this Evil Mermaid palette and its packaging. I want to point out something important on the ingredients list here. There is a little ingredients list on the back of the sleeve. It's not on the palette, just the sleeve. So when I flip the palette over, you'll see there are 3 different types of formulas listed here, and the last one is a pressed glitter. Now, Klarity Kosmetics said on their website and their Instagram page that there's no pressed glitter in this palette. They printed it on the sleeve just in case they decided to add a pressed glitter to have their bases covered, because they have to manufacture their packaging way ahead of time, so the shades weren't fully set yet and they weren't quite sure, but they said they also don't really love pressed glitter, so they decided not to put one in. I just wanted to address that because I'm not a big fan of pressed glitters, and I know a lot of you that watch are also wary of pressed glitters. So just so you know, none of these shades actually are pressed glitters. They are all pressed pigments and foiled shadows. So you see here there's an pretty even split. There's 5 mattes and 4 foiled shades, and 3 of the 4 shimmers are duochrome shades. The only one that is just a straight foiled metallic is that light purpley shade on the very bottom row. So the green and blue shades are all listed as duochromes on the Klarity site, and you'll be able to see those shifts more once they're swatched on the skin versus just what they look like here in the eyeshadow pans. Now I want to show you some swatches with this palette. I don't have any comparisons for this one. I'm sure there are palettes out there that would be worth comparing. I just don't really have anything like that. I have not really been big on more blue leaning and blue heavy palettes in the past, so I just haven't really collected anything that would be worth comparing this. Maybe some singles, but I'm just going to show you some swatches of this palette. As always, I'll show you finger swatches on top, brush swatches below, no primer down. I always use a dry brush, all that good stuff. So let's take a close-up look at some swatches of this Evil Mermaid palette now. As usual for my Klarity Kosmetics shadows, these are really intensely pigmented, very, very opaque, very consistent across the board. I think the middle green matte shade there was a little bit more dry feeling than the other shadows, but overall I would say these are very intense, very, very consistent. You can see the swatches here, the finger and brush swatches look almost identical. These are just such beautifully performing shadows. Maybe not great for somebody who's not as experienced with an intense pigment, but overall I love these. I am constantly impressed with the Klarity Kosmetics formula. Now I want to show you a tutorial for this eye look that I'm wearing today. It's so shimmery and deep blue sea mermaid vibes. I don't feel very evil. I could probably do a little bit of an evil mermaid look, but I definitely feel like an aquatic goddess with this eyeshadow look. So I'm going to show you a quick tutorial and I'll give you all my thoughts on this palette along the way. First things first, I'm not a big blue eyeshadow gal, and let me tell you, I love this color story. Something about the blend of colors with that little bit of purple, the soft kind of sea foamy greens mixed in with the blues just makes this so different from what I would usually be attracted to, but so much fun to play with, so inspiring. I love that some of my favorite shades, so greens and purples, are in there to temper the intimidation of the blues for me. And all in all, I love the theme. I love the color story. The packaging is insanely beautiful. The scaly Evil Mermaid skull packaging is just so cool. I really overall love this theme. I love the approach to the theme. There are just two things I personally would change for this palette. The biggest one being that very last kind of sky blue matte shade in the palette. I wish that that was swapped out for a really, really deep, dark, murky blue, like a deep navy blue matte. That would really round out the color story for me, and it would definitely give it a little bit more evil to the Evil Mermaid theme. Right now, I'm definitely getting more mermaid than evil. I do find myself wishing for just a little bit more depth, a little bit more edginess. So I would have swapped out that sky blue matte shade for a deep, deep blue, deep navy, like a blackened blue type of color. And I wish there was just a little bit more variation between the two duochrome blue foiled shades on the center row. They aren't the exact same color, but I wish there was just a little bit of something more, like maybe one of them was a green, this mid-tone green shade instead of two mid-tone blues. But overall, I have to say, those are pretty small tweaks, nothing that is interrupting my love for this palette. It is so beautiful, high performing, inspiring. It makes me want to wear blues, which is really saying something for me. And as usual, the theming's on point. The shadows are just knock your socks off beautiful. Overall, absolutely love it. Love the small pans. Love this little palette. Even though there are a couple little things I would tweak or change, I really, really like this palette. Now's the time when I want to hear what you think about this one. Are you interested? Is this on your wish list? I always love to hear what you think about things too, so make sure you leave all your thoughts down in the comments below. As always, thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you in my next video. Bye! And I'm really excited about it. These two look really cute together, these two color stories. I love this palette. This is, I hate to spoil it, we're not even halfway through the year yet, but this is for sure the Bloom palette is a contender for best of the year. I wish that I could get this with the smaller pan sizes so that I could travel with it, because it's stunning. Brambles McGee. Okay, what was I saying? So let's dive in. Get it? Dive in. Mermaid. Okay. Never mind. Cut that part out. That was a mom joke. It can't be helped. These things can't be helped. Was that weird? Should I do it again? But crushing it. It's really how I would describe my day. You'd think I'd be better at making videos by now, but alas, here we are. And I should have painted my nails, but they still looked good, so I didn't want to redo them, you know? Only so many hours in the day. Oh my goodness. Okay. My family's being so loud, so I'm gonna go. It is kind of late anyway, so thanks for watching and have a great day. And I think you are fancy and cool and special, and I appreciate you and I love your face. Okay, bye.